Hello and welcome to a new type of video. Due to my lack of foresight and honest laziness, I don't have an audiobook ready for Halloween, so there's no new little creepypasta ready simply because I got distracted making a short film. So I thought I would do, for this year's Halloween special, my 5 favourite horror films. This isn't a top 5, but these are just 5 great horror films I wanted to tell you about. Man, I haven't used that intro for a long time. Starting off at the bottom of the list is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. This film for me taps into a core fear I have, which is something that attacks you in your sleep. Not in the real world, in the world of dreams and in the world of your own mind. It's always been a bit of a weird fear for me of something can get you in your sleep, because in my mind, sleep is like the safe space almost. And also, I really want to have an 80s slasher, and the Friday the 13th films are a bit generic. The Nightmare on Elm Street really, in my opinion, is one of the greatest horror films of the 1980s, and quite frankly, it's creepy, it's weird. The character of Freddy Krueger was always something like a boogeyman when I was at school almost. It was the creepy character who everyone was scared of, mostly down to the remake having come out, but for me, I was always in love with that original 1980s film. Just the way it looks, the way it feels, it's got a creepy atmosphere that runs all the way through it. The music in the film is absolutely outstanding, and in my opinion, much better than Jason Voorhees. Number 4, Witchfinder General. I am a massive classic horror fan, and in fact there is only one 21st century film on this list. And of course, when you're a classic horror fan, who else do you love other than the Vincent Price? And quite frankly, I spent ages trying to narrow down which Vincent Price film I wanted to put on the list. But eventually I came to what is easily his best film, Witchfinder General. And it's his best film, but it wasn't necessarily a film he was supposed to be in. Originally they wanted someone else for his role, but the studio insisted he play it. And there's a great video on YouTube about Witchfinder General by the Dark Corners YouTube channel, which my love of horror wouldn't exist without them. But yeah, Witchfinder General, just a brutal film, and honestly, I'm not sure you could call it a horror film. I don't think it's not supernatural, it's very real world based. In fact, I'd say it's more of a historical drama. A very brutal historical drama, but historical drama nonetheless. The film is full of just this constant sense of terror and anger and the fear of the unknown. It's about the witch hunts, and I just think the film is amazingly directed and amazingly shot and amazingly acted in. And quite frankly, if you were only going to check out one of the films on this list, go out and watch Witchfinder General. In America, it was originally released under the title of The Conqueror Worm, to tie in with a series of Edgar Allan Poe films. It's not based on an Edgar Allan Poe story, but obviously Vincent Price was famous for being in the Edgar Allan Poe film series, which also, I might do a top 5 of those films if this video gets enough. If people want more of these kind of videos, sound off in the comments and I will do more. Okay, in the 3rd spot we have the original 1922 Nosferatu. I haven't seen the remake, I haven't seen either of the remakes actually. I haven't seen the 70s one or the more recent one, but I have seen the original 1922 film, which is the best adaptation of Dracula ever. There is no competition. The film is in the public domain, so you can watch it on YouTube if you are so inclined. It is an incredibly good horror film. It is from the 20s, so obviously there's no sound. So if you're willing to put up with some kind of overly theatrical acting and some albeit inaudibleness, but the film's atmosphere is why you watch it. It's creepy visuals, it's unnerving feeling. The film is very naturalistic actually compared to a lot of German films of the time, but the character of Count Orlok is creepy and stylized and is, in my opinion, the definitive depiction of Dracula. I think the film is an outstanding masterpiece of the genre. I think we're very lucky it's not a lost film. The film has this amazing sense of macabre, even though I wouldn't say it's a violent film, and especially compared to other adaptations of Dracula, there's not a lot of blood in it. But the film's tone and the visuals, some of the iconic visuals from this film that have stuck with the horror genre for generations, you have to watch it, in my opinion. It is one of the greatest films, one of the greatest Dracula adaptations, one of the greatest horror films out there. I think if you're a horror fan, definitely one to check out. Okay, the number 2 spot, the only film on this list that I have seen in cinemas. It is the 1957 film, The Curse of Frankenstein. I'm a huge Hammer fan. Let's get this out of the way now. Hammer Horror is one of my beloved film studios, and I could have put an entire list together of favourite Hammer films, which is definitely a video I might do actually. But I have to go with one for this list, and I was going to go with the one I saw not only in cinemas but with my dad. It is The Curse of Frankenstein. Peter Cushing in maybe his best performance of a lifetime. Christopher Lee as the creature. One of just an amazing film, and in colour as well, especially in a time when horror in colour was very rare. A colour horror film with blood and gore, and it's just amazing. In my opinion, the best Frankenstein adaptation. Not the one that sticks closest to the book, but the one that, in my opinion, is just the most entertaining to watch. And entirely for Peter Cushing's portrayal as Victor Frankenstein. The film follows him and his way of doing things, his madness, and how he becomes more and more obsessed with bringing this creature to life. He's the only actor who's made the line, "I'll give you life," sound like a threat. Had to go with the Peter Cushing horror film on here. And of course, one of the best Hammer films, The Curse of Frankenstein. Great experience seeing it in the cinema. If you didn't get to go see it, I think you've honestly missed out. It's a great film, and if you can check it out, go and do so. The number 1 spot has to go with one of my favourite horror films and one of my favourite all-time films, Possum. As you've been seeing throughout this video, I've not been going too deep into the plots of each film because this is a recommendation. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to let people know what the films are about. I want people to just go out there and watch these films and discover them for the first time. But Possum, I really think you need to go in not knowing anything about it. It's a British horror film from 2018, the only 21st century film on the list, and quite frankly, it is amazingly creepy. About a man just being tormented by a puppet. But unlike things like Child's Play and other cheap films that feature these kind of ideas, this film really gets under your skin with the acting, with the visuals, with the music of it. It is an amazing film, a brilliant watch, and quite frankly, one of the greatest horror films I have ever seen. It is just everything I think people want from a horror film. It's creepy, it's unnerving, it's got quite a small cast. The film features very few people, so it gives it almost an apocalyptic feel, especially with some of the locations the film visits. The film feels like almost like the world is ending around this film, and I think that fits beautifully with what the story's actually about. I think the film's got some bleak visuals that are beautiful and unnerving. The first time I watched the film, I was in bed at like 11 at night, watching it on my laptop, which in my opinion was the perfect way to see it, because it really makes you scared of what could be in the dark. If you've got arachnophobia, like fear of spiders, it'll get under your skin in a way I've never seen another film do in my life. So yeah, go check out Possum. Right, they were my 5 favourite horror films. I'm sorry I haven't gone too deep into the plots of each film. This is really a recommendation video on getting you to watch these 5 amazing films in time for Halloween. This should be coming out on Halloween night, so if you've got some time to yourself, maybe sit down, or even if you're with friends, maybe sit down and watch these 5 amazing films. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more content in future.